Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am Natty Rocke. Welcome, Rockstars. Thank you for being with me today. And today we are going to be doing another video on Kylen and Krystal. We just did the full timeline till now on Monday, so if you haven't seen that, I would suggest going back and watching that, but stick with us for the live if you're not watching on replay. Um, just because we can hang out and it's more fun when we all hang out together. So today we're going to be covering the next part in the saga, I guess, if you'd like to call it that. So we are going to be live reacting together about the interview that Cindy Sue did, who is the woman who did find Kylen's body. So we're gonna be live reacting to that. I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit because I just realized it is a very long interview. So we can hopefully speed it up. I'm sure there's probably gonna be parts that are irrelevant to the conversation. So we'll see how this all goes. We got Krystal in the chat. Hello, Krystal, my Mickey-eared sister. What is up? Thank you for hanging out. I will answer everybody's Discord disclaimer really fast. Like I said in the chat, I haven't had a chance to read anybody's stuff, so I will go in late after the stream and respond to everybody. But I like kind of saw what your message was about, and it is going to be a long one. So yeah, that whole case, we are gonna have to cover the Casey Anthony case eventually because that is just such a big case. We have a newcomer in the chat. Ida says hello. I want to say my screen is also like messing with the colors. I think that's the Swedish flag. I don't know things. I'm gonna double check this. Yeah, I was right. It is the Swedish flag because I just checked my emojis. So welcome, Ida from Sweden. Thanks for joining us. Hello. This is gonna be quite a stream. We got Lee. What is up, Lee? We got so many of my OGs in here, and then we got a newcomer, Ida. Welcome. Let me know what your pronouns are, Ida, by the way. Dragon Man, what is up? Thank you for hanging with us again. Dragon Man and Krystal, it's like, it never fails. It never fails. They're always on the stream. Love you guys. You guys are true OGs. Lee is like pretty much neck and neck with y'all too, though. So Lee's up there. I appreciate Lee too. Ida says, yes, thank you, welcome. Love having new people. This is great. So hopefully you guys have all been keeping up. Well, I know Dragon Man and Krystal know. I think Lee was kind of in and out on the Kylen and Krystal case. So I'm sure if you clicked on my video, you're probably familiar with the Kylen and Krystal case to some extent. But to give like a brief little recap, Kylen and Krystal were a newlywed couple living in Moab, Utah. They were tragically murdered right around the time that the Gabby Petito case really hit the news by storm. So there's been a lot of conspiracy theories or a lot of theories of them being interconnected. They're not getting a lot of publicity right now, unfortunately, as I think that they should. And the family is saying that the law enforcement's not really like doing too much at this point. So my streams, as always, the purpose is to speak, have a community platform where we can talk about things that interest and also affect us, but also to shine a light on these cases and hopefully continue to bring awareness to so many missing persons and murder cases and all kinds of stuff, so that the push continues to happen so these cases can be hopefully solved at some point. So yeah, that's my little spiel. He says, I'm always around, I just can't always type, LOL, usually cooking at this time. Okay, that's fair. I appreciate that. I love listening to a stream and like cooking or cleaning, stuff like that. I actually used to do streams, which I just see somebody from Twitch hanging out. What is up? I used to do a lot of streams where I would literally like hang out and talk with people while I was like quite literally cleaning my house. And people chilled out. So, you know, I get it. What is up? Hello again. Thanks for joining again. What is up? Hope you're doing well. Do I have a lot of viewers on YouTube? According to StreamYard, I have 5 people watching, which usually is based on YouTube. I don't think it's ever actually included anything but YouTube viewership. So that's according to StreamYard how many people are watching. I don't know what if that's actually factually accurate. So, but we got a lot of people in the chat. That's what matters. It's a fun time when people chat. People are chatting in the chat. All right, anyways, I am going to play this video for us all. Like I said, I haven't watched this yet, so this will be completely new for me. I know Krystal's seen this interview, so it won't be new for Krystal, but that's okay. All right, let's do this.
So much going on that I don't even know where to begin, to be really honest. But all I can do is jump right into it. But before we get things going, of course, as always, do not forget to hit that.
Do we have timestamps in there? Let's see if there's any time. Come on. I'm not trying to. I just want this to go away. I'm streaming.
I know.
Hello.
I'm hungry. I have to order food. What do you want?
What are you ordering from?
I don't know. What do you want?
Not fast food.
Well, I was gonna get fast food.
Then McDonald's.
Okay. What do you want?
You really want fries?
Okay. Anything else?
They're not doing breakfast all day anymore, right?
No.
Can I get the? Oh, they don't have the grilled chicken sandwich. I don't know what's the healthiest thing on the menu.
Nothing. Also, heads up, we're apparently doing Friday with Marissa and Zach now. Thanks, their plans canceled.
Sweet.
Okay, so we gotta clean the house.
Gross. I don't know. Let me think about it. Like, give me like a second to think about it.
Okay, just text me.
Okay, love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Don't take too long, so I'm hungry.
Okay.
Also, the 500 was pulled out from your bike.
All right. Sorry about that. I know, right? Fries are live. Honestly, I'm trying so hard to control myself. Trying so hard. Do we have timestamps on this? Because that would be super dope. Of course not. It's okay. That is not Cindy Sue. Okay, what's happening here? They're gonna recap the whole. Okay. Bridget Cal. Who's Bridget Calvert? Why does this sound familiar? Okay, I want to see Cindy Sue's interview. That's what we're here for. That is not Cindy Sue. Hey, Krystal, do you know about this stream? Because it literally says exclusive interview with Cindy Sue. What? Oh, wait a minute. I clicked on the wrong one. God damn it. Give me a second, guys. Sorry. Gosh darn it. I can't believe I've done this. What the hell? That's fucking weird. 1 second. Well, it's gotta be on his channel, right? I thought that was the Cindy Sue video, but apparently not. Okay. Is there playlists on this channel? Let's hope there's playlists on this channel. There are, but there's only a playlist for Gabby. Okay. Okay, there we go. Found it. Sorry about that. I don't want it full screen.
And I see a couple ladies up.
No. What is happening? Okay. Why was I able to do that with the other one and not this one? That like mini full screen was great. Can we do that again? All right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. All right, we're sharing the screen.
This could be the
Sharing the screen. Okay. We're gonna stop that. Okay.
Beautifully
This is
light.
what we were looking
Valley.
for.
Comfort
Minus
revolutionized.
the advertisement. Please skip the ads. Thank you.
Can we go back? I know that.
All right, here we go. And all right, here we go.
Very, very blessed to have someone very, very special on today. Please welcome Cindy Sue Hunter to the show. She had an opportunity to find Kylen and Krystal's bodies. I do have to ask you a little bit. First off, before I jump into it, thank you so much for being on with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can we go back? I know that I don't know how many times you've told this story and all that, but can we go back to the very beginning? Because I understand before you went hunting for Kylen and Krystal, you had already known Kylen and her father Sean Paul, correct?
Correct. They were some of the first customers I had at my little art craft store that I opened here in Moab. And Sean Paul came in and asked me if I would carry his artwork on a commission basis. And I said, of course, I would love to. And so he was the first artist work that I commissioned in my little store.
Oh, wow. And your store was called what again?
Imagination Station Arts and Craft Supplies at that time. Eventually it became Imagination Station Art Craft and Party Supplies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so you live in the Moab area, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So how did you catch wind on this? Like, tell us a little bit of the origin. Like, what inspired you to start looking?
I received, or I didn't receive it. I read a Facebook post from Sean Paul begging the community to be his eyes and ears, boots on the ground. His daughters were missing. They weren't responding. There were no calls, no shows. The police had searched for them with no success. And he felt that the police might have missed something. So during that day, Tuesday the 17th, I argued with myself all day long about how I could possibly find them, because I was being told basically in my gut that I had to go. I didn't really know what that was going to look like or how I could possibly find them in the vast mountain range of the La Salles. The loop road alone is 60 miles long. It is a huge area.
That sounds massive, especially if you're. Did you walk this whole thing?
So I drove to different areas and would walk around as much as I could, and then I would get in my car and I was stopping and looking over the edge of cliffs. I was looking in ravines. I was looking anywhere it looked like, the brush had been disturbed. Yeah, I spent almost 5 hours before I found the girls.
Wow, that's unbelievable. So okay, so you spent 5 hours searching, walking around. Now, but before we go into that, before you got inspired, you felt like something inside of you was talking to you, saying, "Hey, I need to go and find Kylen and Krystal." How did you first catch wind that they were missing in the first place?
Yeah, this story, I'm gonna just take a comment right here. Also, like, let me know, like, if as we're watching this, if you guys are thinking anything about what she's saying or feeling something, like, let me know and we'll talk about it. But Crystal's saying Cindy Sue is amazing. Thank goodness she was there to look for the girls. Yeah, I mean, as I'm sure she's gonna go into more in just a second, this story is absolutely insane. I mean, the girls being missing was kind of, as we talked about in the timeline video on Monday, was kind of brushed off. Um, and it was kind of ridiculous to me in one sense. 1 second, sorry. It was kind of ridiculous to me because one of the ways that it was kind of brushed off by law enforcement was to say that, oh, well, they're camping, but like maybe they went camping. Like they were already camping. What do you mean maybe they went off and camped somewhere else? They were already camping. Like that makes no sense. So I think that they really had a huge support system, and people who really cared about them, because it was kind of immediate that Kylen and Crystal's father, or like Kylen's dad, who considered both of them his daughters, immediately took action, knew that this was out of character for them. I think something that I see over and over and over again in missing persons cases and true crime cases in general, especially ones that catch fire, it's this initial hesitancy from law enforcement to do anything. And I'm not saying that to bash law enforcement or anything, but only you know the people you love. Like the law enforcement isn't going to understand or realize that, like, it is out of character for these people not to show up for work. Like law enforcement doesn't know you from Adam. So like if you're somebody who is incredibly responsible, would never like miss a day of work, would never ever like no call no show, like never in a million years do that, law enforcement doesn't know that. Law enforcement doesn't know that it's out of character for you to be on a camping trip and then go on another camping trip, or like go off camping somewhere else away from your camp. Like only your family is going to know that that's out of character for you. Um, Only your family, in the Mia Mercano case, like only her family would know that she was incredibly meticulous about her room and her bed and would not leave anything out of sorts at all. Um, you know, I know that only I know certain things about my best friends, that if something was out of skew with what they were doing, that would be out of character and a big red flag for me, but for other people it wouldn't be. So it's so important, and I think this is what makes these cases successful in figuring out what happened, is partially these families being victim advocates and saying no. Point blank no, this is out of character for these people. They wouldn't go a day without calling. It's just not who they are as people. Um, no, it is out of character for them to not show up to work. You need to take this seriously. Unfortunately, you know, police are and law enforcement are stretched very thin. So it does take a lot of times pressure on law enforcement and continued advocacy for the victim, um, for them to do something, which is very unfortunate, but it is the reality. So I think the one thing that we can all take out of this is um care about the people you love. Think about how they act. Make notes because you're never going to know when you're going to need that information. You're never going to know what's going to happen tomorrow. Um and so it's really important for you to know who the people are around you and know that the people around you know who you are, who you authentically are, what is your patterns, what are your modus operandi, what who are you as a person, because that could just save your life one day and it could save somebody else's life one day. That's the one thing that I see in all these cases is the family having to step in and saying absolutely not, law enforcement, cut your shit out. You need to help us find this person because they wouldn't be doing this. This is not natural, this is not normal, this is not how they react. So I think that's something we can definitely take away from these cases. But you know, it is thanks to Cindy Sue immediately jumping on it alongside Kylen and Krystal's father, um, going out there. I mean, not just anybody would go out there on this 60-mile loop road out in the boonies. So it is out in the boonies. It is literally in the mountains. You know, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's LaSalle Mountain Loop Road. Exactly what it sounds like. Um, it's huge. It's huge expanses. Um, you know, and I believe that it is because of her strength of character, and her resolve that she was able to find them. And how many cases have we seen that people never go out and people's bodies are left for months and months and months, if not years. And that case could have been solved if they would have gone out there like Cindy Sue did and found them. And now, hopefully, because Cindy Sue found them so quickly, hopefully we can have some answers as to what happened to them. But, you know, if we look at, hold on. If we look at, even as we were talking about the other day, the Casey Anthony case, a big part of the problem in that case in figuring out what happened is the fact that Kaylee's body was out there for months and months and months. And somebody did call her body in 2 months earlier and it wasn't taken seriously. So these are the issues that tend to happen. So thankfully, Cindy Sue had the bravery, resolve, and strength of character to give a shit about them and say, no, I'm going to go out there. And she found them. And I give a lot of props and appreciation and praise to Cindy Sue because not a lot of people will go out and do that for you. Krystal reminding everybody, like always, to smash those likes that she double dog dares you. I love that. Thank you so much, Krystal. I appreciate you. I'll take this moment. If you haven't subscribed yet, what you doing? Please subscribe. Also, join our Discord if you haven't done that already. It's a fun time over there. All right, let's get back to the video.
That Facebook post from Sean Paul where he was begging the community to help him. Yeah, that's when I first heard about it. And everybody was responding with, those girls are, you know, badass. They can defend themselves. Other comments were, you know, maybe they went camping outside of Moab and just forgot to tell anybody. Maybe they went on a road trip and just forgot to cover their bases. And so when I got home Tuesday night, I contacted Sean Paul and said, is this normal behavior? Do they normally not show up for work or not call or stay in touch with people? And he's
ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 what we were just talking about. Thank you, Cindy Sue. Love you, girl.
Said absolutely not. The only way they would not show up for work is if there was like another fire or, you know, an emergency of some kind, but that they would not just not show up to work.
Yeah.
And so I told him then, I said, okay, I'm being told to go. I don't know what I can do or how I can possibly find them, but I will go up tomorrow. And my goal was to drive until I was out of gas and or it got dark. And that way I at least felt like I had tried to find his girls for him.
Yeah. No,
I think this is so noble of her. And I also really want to point out, and I don't think this is something I've seen people talk about online. Um, but not only did she go out there with the resolve that it doesn't matter how long it takes, I'm gonna be out here until I can find them. Either I find them, run out of gas, or it gets dark, because obviously it's dangerous to just be out there at dark, wandering, trying to look for somebody. You're gonna get yourself in trouble. Um, you know, I don't think anybody is talking about how incredibly traumatic it must have been to find Kylan's body. Like that is so like I can't even begin to put myself in those shoes to find anybody's body in the first place is horrific. Um but especially when it's somebody you care about, uh, like there's no words. And I'm sure she'll talk about it in a second, but she was literally FaceTiming with Kylan's father when she found Kylan's body. And it's like, I can't even imagine how much worse that is to do that. And I sincerely hope that she goes and gets some professional help to cope with that loss and the trauma of finding a literal dead body. Like that is probably some of the hardest things that a person can witness, is just stumbling upon a body or seeing somebody killed or having to kill somebody out of the self-defense. Anything with death is incredibly traumatic to start off with. So I really hope that she's okay and that she's, getting help from professionals to process all of this, because that's not easy. Yeah, as Crystal was saying, yes, to find a body and someone I can't even imagine the PTSD ones would have. I can't either. Especially at a whole nother level to be on the phone of FaceTiming with the parent of that person who you found. Um, that's like a whole nother level of things to process as well.
I appreciate your spirit. I'm gonna be really honest. I really do appreciate your spirit that you're willing to roll up your sleeves and do it yourself.
Yeah.
Now, and that's something that I find I'm a little confused about too. I mean, can you speak a little bit about the law enforcement side of things? Because for some weird reason, you're the one who found them, not law
Yeah.
enforcement. Why wasn't there law enforcement out here in the wilderness in that area looking for these two women? That's the part that I don't understand. What's going on here?
Yeah, and that's the part no one really understands. I mean, basically, they're adult women that had gone missing. So, in the law's eyes, I don't think that they really look at that as a missing person. I think you really have to fight for them to go searching for somebody, especially if it's an adult that just disappears. Um, you'd really have to ask them that question. They told Sean Paul that they had gone up and searched. Supposedly,
I think this is a major issue because it is another thing that I continue to see reoccurring in so many missing persons cases is because it is an adult, it is not taken seriously, which I think is not okay. And I think that another problem is even with teen cases, there is this element of a lot of times the initial thought is, well, they ran away. Sorry about it. And I think that the response should be more than that.
the officers from the Colorado side had searched the backside as well. But you literally could see their campground from the Lake Warner turnoff, and that was one of the sites they had searched. So to me, I'm like, that just doesn't make any sense. If they had searched, they would have seen there's a campsite down there, and you would think that they would have gone over to check it out because you could see it.
I'm sorry. Like for me, I've been saying this a lot lately, but the math just ain't mathing to me.
No, it doesn't.
Because if they were out there and they said that,
I'm dead. The math just ain't mathin' to me. That is such a good line. It's on par, like it's close if not on par with if 2 plus 2 plus 4 and 5 plus 5 is 10, then what the fuck is this? Like that is like on the same level of I feel like, and that's hilarious. I absolutely love that line.
They did their due diligence searching for these two women. How long were they searching for these two women before Sean Paul actually put out that post on Facebook?
I think they looked for them on Monday, and Sean Paul put that Facebook up on Tuesday. And I went out and found.
I have to say the math just ain't mathin' for me either, because 60 miles is a lot to cover. And I that's a lot of ground. And you know what? I'm not even gonna put that out there, but you know where I'm getting with that. Not about Zenitsu, about law enforcement. I'm not gonna go there. Anyways, we continue on.
Them on Wednesday.
So in other words, it was so they went out for what, maybe less than 24 hours, basically.
I don't think they were out there that long.
Wow.
I mean, Sean Paul made the comment while we were waiting at the crime scene, because he was on the phone with me when I found his daughter, and he said, "If the police are looking for my daughter, they should be to you already. Why are we having to wait for them to show up?" And I said, "Obviously, because they're not up here. If they were up here, they would have been here by now."
Big yikes.
And I'm not sure how long I waited, but I'm pretty sure it was over an hour before they showed up.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like I said, this math just ain't mathin'.
No.
So
there's so many things that don't add up here.
Have mercy. And God bless you for what you have been doing. So we do have to talk about this timeline, right? Which is what we already are tapping on. So Monday they went out to search for them. They came up empty-handed, of course. They came up with no results. Sean Paul puts out a post on Tuesday saying, "Hey, I need everybody's help. Please go search for my daughter and for her wife." Wednesday morning, I'm assuming Wednesday morning.
Yeah, so I told him Tuesday night.
That reminds me. This is something that I really wanted to talk about, and I didn't end up talking about it in the stream, and I wish I would have. With the caveat, as somebody in the LGBT community, whatever, even that doesn't fucking matter, right? I'm so impressed with the way that people in the media and on social media who are following this, who are being representatives of the case, right? Such as this man Pascal. You know, I am so impressed with how the level of decorum, because people online, from what I have seen, are not they are being incredibly nice to this couple, in the sense of their status as a couple. Like, I have not seen anybody saying anything gross because it was two women in a relationship. I feel like a few years ago it would have been lesbian couple. This lesbian couple was murdered. And like a supreme focus on their sexuality, not the fact that they were married, like a married couple. You know, everybody's been calling it the Moab newlywed murders, and I feel like in a lot of other spaces just a couple years ago it would have been the Moab lesbian murders. It's never been a gay couple or gay marriage or anything like that. It is this married couple, not having to put an emphasis on it being any kind of sexual orientation. It is just this couple. Nobody seems to be saying anything about that or making a weird emphasis about it, or kind of putting them down, or having this weird energy towards them because it was a gay couple. And also there hasn't been a weird energy towards it because of the age difference between them. And I want to applaud the media, and I want to applaud the people who've been covering this both in traditional media and social media, because from what I've seen, the big players are presenting this as a couple. They're just a couple, just like anybody else, and I I really appreciate that. That is a little caveat that I wanted to add from the timeline. Anyways, we continue.
That I don't know what I can do because I mean, look at me. I'm an old lady. I'm not a spring chicken. I'm got physical issues, and I said I don't know how, but I'll go look until I run out of gas or it gets dark.
Yeah.
And basically, I was arguing with myself all day. By the way, you know, because again, I'm not physically equipped to be a search party person. You know, other than just walking.
Yeah.
I can't climb or do it.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, I totally, Lee said, I'd be so afraid going out in the woods alone searching. I mean, I think a lot of people, I think most people are scared of the woods. Nowadays, like, it's just like people don't want to just be out in the woods, which is, I get it. But especially going out to search for somebody who's missing by yourself, that's scary. I know that she did have her 2 dogs with her, but like that's not that much of a comfort. Like it's somewhat of a comfort, but not like an insane amount. So yeah. I love it. Crystal's like, Moab is a 45-minute drive away. Normal person driving, but takes law enforcement an hour. Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Crystal said, Naty, we're too much on the same page with this case. I keep going to type, and halfway through, you're saying the same thing I'm thinking, the same thing that I'm typing. Puts on a shirt. I agree with Naty. What a mood. Honestly, I would love to hear your thoughts about my little tangent just a second ago. So you go for it. Continue with the tangent anyways. It's totally fine.
Doing crazy stuff. All I can do is walk around. And so I got up Wednesday morning. I put an ice chest full of water, an ice chest full of fruits and vegetables. I think I had a jar of nuts. I had some blankets and towels in the car. I had some digging tools, and because I thought I'm going to find a wreck. Sean Paul said, I think maybe the police missed something. Maybe there's a broken fender, broken taillights, broken reflectors. Look for something like that. And so that's what I went up there searching for, was an accident that had been missed. And there's so many places that could happen up there. There's no guardrails on so many of those roads. I always make comments, how come there's no guardrails up here? And so I was pulling over and looking over cliffs and looking in ravines. And if I went on a path, I would park and walk as far as I could and, let my dogs run, and they were helping me search. And the whole time I was talking to my mom, who I just lost in January. And I was talking to the girls. I said, I don't know how you guys camp. I don't know if you're out.
Okay, we're gonna just let that advertisement play out just 1 second. Sorry about that.
I don't know where to look. And I'd tell my mom, these are your mountains, Mama. You grew up here. Like, tell me where to go. I don't know where to go. Mm-hmm. And so I went to Pack Creek first area, drove around up there, talked to people. I went to Geyser Pass, drove around up there, actually chased people down, driving backwards up that road, showing them pictures. And while I was up at Geyser Pass, my phone rang. And in the 6 years I've lived here, my phone has never worked in those mountains ever. And it worked that day. And I stopped my car because I didn't want to lose the signal. And Sean Paul told me that he had just found out the girls were afraid of a creeper guy. And all of a sudden, everything changed for me. Like, I just had a sense of urgency now that I didn't have before. And I wasn't so sure that I was on a rescue mission anymore. It started to feel very dark.
Yeah.
So after chasing some cars down, one of them kept going because they probably thought I was a crazy lady. The other car pulled over, an SUV, and a bunch of people got out, and I showed them pictures. And I got down to the bottom of Geyser Pass and was trying to decide, do I go left or do I go right? Sean Paul had told me to go to the Sand Flats Road and search campgrounds back there. Mm-hmm. But I remembered that there was 3 campers to the left that I didn't stop and ask. And so I was having this conversation with myself. Do I go talk to them, or do I backtrack from Sand Flats if I don't find them there? And eventually I just kind of followed where I was being led, and I just turned right. And at this point, I'm still kind of determining where I'm going to go instead of listening to where I'm being told to go. Right. And I go to Lake Uwa, and I see a couple ladies up there by themselves.
Really quick, I'm going to just take a couple comments. I just said, poor father, he lost his son and then these two women, heartbreaking. Yeah, I mean, that's something that we did cover on the timeline. It is incredibly heartbreaking. This is like another weird thing to me is like these cases where it's like these families have like one bad occurrence after the other. You know, in this case, it is that Sean Paul Kylen's father and Kylen had just lost Kylen's brother a few years ago. And that's devastating. In the case, you know, we covered that it was a unfortunate accident that ended up in his death. And now to go from this and then you know, I want to say that it happened in 2016 if I'm remembering my facts correctly. That's what, 5 years ago? That's not that much time. And I mean, for any parent to bury their child is one of the most horrific things. Burying your child is the most horrific thing a parent could probably go through. Um, and to have to do that twice, or ostensibly 3 times, because even though again Krystal wasn't his biological daughter, obviously because they were married, that is still his daughter. In his heart and his soul, that was still his daughter as well. So now he's had to bury 3 children. I can't even imagine the heartache, the pain. I can't even imagine. That is horrifying, and I feel so bad for him. I just said he was shot by accident. I think he was shot by accident. To give the short version of it, essentially, he was sneaking up on his friend as a joke, kind of going around behind a house to prank his friend and scare him. His friend thought he was an intruder and he accidentally shot him. I mean, he shot him on purpose thinking he was an intruder, not knowing it was his friend. So he accidentally shot his friend, not knowing it was him. You get the picture. But it is horrific. And I also feel really bad for his friend because I can't imagine the incredible amount of guilt one would have from accidentally shooting their friend, thinking that they're defending themselves, and it just being their friend playing a prank on them. Like, you know, we all go around. We've all done it. You know, we've all just jokingly went up to a friend and been like, ah, or a family member. Nobody ever thinks that it's gonna end like that, and like that is just horrible. Crystal is saying, I love when loved ones who have passed help people find missing people. I totally believe that. Yeah, I mean, I you can feel in Cindy Sue's spirit coming through the screen that she was feeling very led that day. And I think that is so wonderful and powerful. And I'm very glad that she had that leading feeling and helped her figure it out. Because God knows, you know, who else? Nobody else was volunteering. No, God knows nobody else was volunteering to go look for them, including the law enforcement. They weren't out there looking for her at that time. For them, I should say. And, you know, that God only knows how many months they would have been out there just decomposing and losing the crucial evidence that is needed by law enforcement to figure this out. Oh. Krystal said, side note, Kylen's oldest brother was adopted, got to meet Kylen, Krystal, and the rest of the family just 3 years ago. He describes Kylen as a total metalhead with the with the hippy dippy look. I remember you telling me about that, and like that is so sweet and oh my god, so fucking tragic at the same time. All right, I'll keep playing this.
I show them pictures. I come out of Lake Uwa and I'm going to turn on Lake Warner, and I'm literally told, no, you need to go straight. You need to hurry, please hurry. Go straight, hurry, please hurry. I drove past Whispering Oaks, which I honestly don't remember doing. The only reason I know I did is because I could see it from the campsite. I went across a cattle guard, and then I saw a flash of silver out of my left peripheral vision, and I stopped my car in the middle of the road, backed it up, and I could actually see that there was a campsite down there. I still didn't know I had found the girls' campsite at that time. I drove down there with the intent of asking them, "Have you seen these girls?"
So that little glint of silver that you saw in the corner of your eye
Was their car.
was their car and their campsite that they were last, I guess, seen at.
Correct.
Okay.
So I pulled down the road and realized if I went straight, it wouldn't take me to them. And there's a little tiny road, it's kind of hidden, that I saw, and I turned down that road, and it took me directly to their campsite. And when I got down there, I realized I didn't know what model of a Kia they had. And so I didn't want to assume I had found their campsite, but there were no people around. And so I saw a pet carrier inside of a black, like a dog pen, sitting on the ground. And so I walked over to the car first, and I think the car first. I honestly don't remember. It's in my statement that I gave the police. But I saw bunny hay and bunny food and stuff. And so then I walked over to the tent, and I peeked in the tent, and there was no one in the tent. And I walked over to the bunny, and I told the bunny I was really sorry I couldn't remember her name, and that I couldn't help her yet because I didn't know if I was in a crime scene or not. I didn't know what I had walked into. Yeah. And so I was apologizing to this little bunny because I could see she didn't have any food. She didn't have any water. The carrier that she was in was really, really small, enough room for her to turn around. And it was just filthy. And I just felt really bad. And I knew there was nothing I could do for the bunny. And meanwhile, you have to know I'm on the phone with the police the whole time.
Right.
And my phone is still working in these mountains that it has never worked in.
That's
ever.
Krystal said, and Ruth the rabbit was found. City Sue finding them only after a few days is what saved Ruth. Yeah, I mean, if things would have just proceeded and you know the path in which law enforcement was taking, that bunny would have been dead. That's fucked up. Yet another casualty of this horrific crime, and I hope that whoever did this is brought to justice sooner than later. But I have a feeling this stream is gonna get a lot more emotional second because I don't know about you guys, but I can feel and see the emotions bubbling up for Cindy Sue in this moment.
That's so wild.
It's January of 2016. It has never worked here.
Higher power was watching. Must have
been. All day, yes. So then once they pinned my location, they hung up and told me to wait for them. They were on their way. And so I called Sean Paul and said, I have found their campsite. And so, of course, he's asking me, do you see the girls? Where are the girls? And I said, there's no one here. And he said, well, maybe they went hiking. And I said, well, there's no hiking on this side of the road. I said, this is more like walking. I said, so I'll just walk around and see if I can see anything at all.
Right.
And I walked over around the back of the car to the passenger side and I wanted to walk away from that area because I realized that it could be a crime scene by now and I need to not touch anything, not disturb anything. I walked over a little mound of dirt and I noticed there was a creek bed there. And I said, oh, there's a whole pack of like Gatorade bottles or something. And they were torn out of the plastic sleeves, and they were scattered all over the ground. And I'm talking to Sean Paul the whole time. And I said, I saw Kylen's body in the water. I didn't say that to him. I immediately...
Wait a second. So just so I can understand correctly. So you were walking by, you were on the phone with Sean Paul. You saw a bunch of Gatorade bottles strewn all over the ground.
Yeah.
And then off to the side somewhere.
Right above those Gatorade bottles, literally a little bit to the left in the creek was Kylen's body.
Kylen's body was there?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't tell him right away. I kind of... so I didn't even remember that I was on the phone with him when this happened. Later, he had to remind me that I was on the phone with him and that I was his eyes and ears.
Right. Wow.
Because he said, do you remember that you just started mumbling? You started talking about how pretty the creek was and that you didn't know there was a creek back there. And I'm like, yeah, I do remember that. I turned my head to the right and just started looking anywhere but at her. And then eventually I had this argument with myself and said, you have to look, you have to make sure that that's a body in the water.
Of course.
And I eventually turned my head back around and said, and I still at that point, I don't think I told him it was Kylen. I told him I didn't know who it was. But eventually I had to tell him it was her because I knew from her build that it couldn't be Krystal because Krystal was much smaller than Kylen. Yeah. So eventually I told him, yes, it's Kai.
So when it comes to when you saw Kylen, You said that.
Oh my god. This whole thing is horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. I have no words. While this ad plays, I'm gonna just catch up on comments really quick. Chris said, "Aw, Ida blessed you when you sneeze, Naty. At Ida, you're so nice." And then said something, I don't know what Krystal really meant by this. And I said, thank you, Krystal. Or hearted Krystal. All right. The ads are done. Let's get back to it.
Just so I can understand a little bit more, when you said that you saw Kylen, how far away was her body from the actual campsite?
So there's a stand of trees that were behind their tent, between them and the creek. And the creek is literally behind that stand of trees that you can see in the images that I've shared. So literally just a few feet of the campsite.
Just a few feet. And yet the cops did their search and they found nothing.
Right.
You go out 2 days later and find Kylen's body first. Now, I have to ask you, in regards to Krystal, with Krystal's body, where did you find?
I did not. I did not find her body. At that point, I remember asking Sean Paul, "Do you want me to take pictures?" And he's like, "Oh my God, no! Oh my God, no!" And he goes, "Do you see Krystal?" And I said, "No. Do you want me to go searching for her?" And by then, he's screaming at me, "Get in your car! Lock the doors! Get the f out of there!" You know, he's realizing that I could be in danger, and I'm still trying to help find the girls and not realizing that I could be in danger.
Understandably. Can we go back just a little bit to when you found Kylen's body?
Can I just say, like, that to me speaks so much, speaks volumes about Sean Paul, because I think a lot of people's first instinct is, like hers was, oh, what should I do? Should I take photos? Should I, especially nowadays, it's a lot of times it's so crucial to take photos immediately, and it's kind of ingrained in our heads that we need to take a photo immediately, or video. And, she was still in search mode. And I think a lot of people have been like, yes, find Krystal, find Krystal. But I think it says so much to Sean Paul and his awareness of the entire situation and selflessness, because it's one thing to realize that Cindy Sue could have been in danger. It's another thing to react on that and tell them to get out. Because some people would have been kind of selfish and been like, yeah, go look for Krystal, knowing well in their mind that Cindy Sue could be in danger. So I applaud Sean Paul for reacting in that manner and telling her to get out, because it's true, she could have been in danger.
Can we just go, can you take us back to where you were? Like, what was going through your mind? I know that you were on the phone with Sean Paul, and of course you want to say anything too disheartening or too devastating for him to hear on the phone.
Right.
And I know you said that, but was there a moment where you just knew without a shadow of a doubt, you're like, that's Kylen? You didn't have a moment like, whoa, what's that kind of thing? What was going through your mind?
I went into shock. I didn't want it to be a body. I didn't. I wanted to be wrong. I did not want to see what I saw. So I thought by looking away that when I looked back, I would see something else, like a log or something. I wanted it to be anything but what I saw. And I really was in shock, because I went out to find them in trouble. I didn't go out to find them both dead.
Yeah, I have to say thank you so much for finding Kylen. So you didn't find. So you were not the one to find Krystal.
No, when the police got there, an officer had gone in the direction that I felt Krystal's body was. I somehow I knew that was the direction to go. And when he came out, I asked him. I said, "Did you find her?" And he just put his hand in my face like this and just walked by me. His lip was trembling. I saw him make a motion like this to his side. He was doing this to his side. So I knew that she had been injured or impaled or something I didn't know at that time that they had been shot. And then they later came in, because he couldn't talk. It's not that he didn't want to talk to me. He could not talk when he got her body. So they later told me that, yes, they had found her. And I said, yeah, I kind of figured that out already.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, I hate to retrack or circle back around to the moment that you found Kylen. But we have to, right? We have to go back. How was she? How did you find her? Were there any markings? Did you see anything other than, because you said that they mentioned that there maybe has been an injury on her side, but how was she? How did she lay? What did she? How
Her
was she presented?
So she was submerged in water. That's not something I revealed. That was something that was later released in the warrant, when they released the warrant and told everybody that the girls were naked from the waist down. I didn't realize that she was naked from the waist down because she was submerged in water. And I don't know if she was face up or face down because I never could see her face. So we don't know. We've been given very little information.
Okay.
We know that they were shot multiple times. We know that they were naked from the waist down, but we don't know if they were actually raped.
So you didn't see her actually like naked. You didn't see her clothes, just kind of.
No, she looked strange to me. I don't know how to describe it. Her limbs were.
Can I just say that is a blessing that she could tell it was a body. You know, that's already traumatic enough. But it's a blessing that she wasn't able to really see or understand that they were naked and, you know, their clothes torn off and stuff. Like, that's a whole nother level of trauma. Like, it's like so many levels to this trauma, and like that would have been even worse than what she already experienced. So I'm glad that she, at least in that moment, couldn't tell that that's what happened, so she doesn't have that mental image in her head forever. Jeez. There's just no good about this.
At odd angles. They appeared to be at odd angles to me for somebody who was laying in a creek, you know, that was running. Her limbs just seemed odd. They were kind of bent. I don't know how to describe that, really. And I couldn't see her face. So I don't know if her face was, something was laying on her face, if, or again, if she was face down. I just don't know. I don't know. And once I confirmed that it was a body, by then Sean Paul is screaming at me to get in my car. And so I ran and got in my car and locked the doors and the windows. And
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. Was there anything else in the area that just kind of sparked as odd to you?
There was like clothes of some type underneath the tree, between the tree and the tent. There were just, things just didn't look right. You know, the tent door was open, but it wasn't like open like you would open your tent normally. You know, it was askew. Everything was kind of askew. I saw a cell phone in the tent leaning up against something. Things just didn't look right. It obviously didn't look right. Nothing looked right. I saw like big gallon baggies over in a stand of trees off to the right of the car, and I saw something else in the water, but I don't know what it was. I didn't. Again, Sean was screaming at me to get in my car, so I ran and got in my car.
No, I totally understand that, and I'll be honest. You know, I commend you for being so brave and rolling up your sleeves and doing the job that law enforcement should have done. I feel like from what you've told me, from the story that you told me, it sounds like they just threw up their.
I'm going to try on these bras from Maidenform. They have smart zone shaping, which helps better shaping and better sizing and better support.
Why?
These bras.
Their hands and just said, you know, forget it. Let's move on.
Yeah, I think they probably have the same mentality that the rest of the town did. You know, that these girls will be fine. They're adults and they're fine. You know, no one. I just don't think people took Sean Paul serious.
Yeah.
That something was seriously wrong.
Have you talked to Sean Paul recently? Has he?
Yeah, I talk to him pretty regular. I stop by the park, you know, as often as I can when he's there just to give him a hug and say hello and see how he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty devastating to watch him because he's torn. You know, he wants to go home, but he also doesn't want to leave because, will this just disappear like so many other things that happen here disappear?
Right. No, I totally understand that. You know, how is he doing?
Okay, I'm gonna take this moment actually to plug. I need to add it in the links in the description. But if you're watching the replay crew, it's already linked. There is a GoFundMe that has been made on behalf of Sean Paul in order to cover the expenses of everything that comes after a homicide occurs. There is a lot of expenses that you wouldn't think of. So if you want to go ahead and contribute to that, feel free. It's linked down below. So yeah, you know, even if you want to donate like a couple dollars, $1, $2, whatever it is, I'm sure that they'll really appreciate any kind of donation. Also, even if you are not in the position to give money, which is totally understandable, if you want to share it, I'm sure they'll really appreciate that too. And I'm sure also share any kind of real factual information about this stuff, or you know, just like anything that's kind of trying to put a spotlight on this case and bring more people in. I'm sure they'll appreciate that too, because the more that people talk about it, the more pressure, the more that law enforcement needs to, you know, do something about it. Krystal said that Kylen's brother said the bodies were moved to the water. I don't know how true that is. Kylen's aunt said she and the family believed it had to be more than one person. Kylen and Krystal were strong. Yeah, it was interesting to hear Cindy Sue talk about that earlier, about how people kind of were blowing it off because they're like, they're gonna take care of themselves. They're strong, independent people. Um, you know, I'm sure that they were. I mean, it takes huge guts to do what they were doing and living how they were living. That's not easy to renovate your SUV and live in it full time. Um, that takes a lot of guts. So I'm sure they were strong women. Um, but it's, you don't know what happened in that, we none of us know what happened in that moment, and maybe it was more than one person, maybe it wasn't. Sometimes it takes only one person. If they know the right things to do and they have the right equipment, it could be a 2-on-1 and that one person win. It's just the unfortunate reality. Um oh my god, Dragon Man. Dude, holy shit. That is such a good um that I this sentiment right here. The math is mathing right here. Um Dragon said all these cases show how the media creates reality. If it's not covered, the event does not exist. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's why it's so important for us to talk about it. You know, when I come on stream and when other people stream, and other people on social media go online and petition for these cases to be seen by people, I think that's a huge part of it, because you know what? Fuck it. If the traditional media doesn't want to goddamn cover it, we're gonna cover it. Us out here on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, on TikTok, wherever the fuck, people who are truly invested and truly care to give the right information. Not saying that there aren't people who are doing this for fucking clout, in the worst ways, and making up bullshit and doing a lot of shit that's gross. Fuck those people. Um, but people who are genuinely out here trying to signal boost these cases, I appreciate. And I think it's important, because I think we have seen in the past year, we've seen the last several years, the staying power of YouTube, and the power that YouTube can have behind them into getting things into the real, like the traditional media, I should say. Um but TikTok, the way that is fucking TikTok, they have the insane, like an absolute insane amount of sway and the ability to really get things on to traditional media in so many levels. And I think that again just reinforces that the more that we all as a collective community society get together online, even if the traditional media doesn't want to goddamn cover it, we're gonna say, you know what, fuck you, you're gonna cover it. You're gonna cover it. I don't care what you want, you're gonna cover it. Um, we have the ability to change lives, if we all stick together. And the more that we share, the more that we talk on here, the more that we talk on other streams, the more that we cross platforms with other people, the more that we share videos like Pascal's and talk about Pascal's video, people I'm sure sharing my video, all that stuff is so important, because if like traditional media doesn't want to cover it, we're going to talk about it. And look at the power of everybody on social media getting together and talking about the Gabby Petito case. How many people's footage and people came out of the woodwork with legitimate information that would have never been seen if people weren't talking about it online. So I think it's so important to be doing what we're doing here. Dude, that shit kills me. Krystal said, after the bodies were found, Sean Paul set up a tip booth at the campsite. He sat at that booth every day for 3 weeks. I believe it. That man is strong as hell, too. And I've heard that some of the most legitimate tips came from that. That's what something we covered in the timeline was, you know, that whole thing about, we talked about in the timeline where we talked about the theories as to like who done it and what people were talking. One of them was there was a huge wedding of 100 people, not very far, and like literally within sightline of the camp. And if Sean Paul wouldn't have put up that tip booth, nobody would have known about that. Nobody would have known. Police didn't put it together. It's a shit show, and I'm very happy that Sean Paul put that tip booth out because there's things that we wouldn't have known. I digress.
I don't know. I mean, he's being strong because he has kids at home still, you know. But I believe he's. You can see in the pictures, his heart is just shattered, and he's just looking for answers. And he deserves, you know, the whole family, both of them, deserve answers.
Yeah.
All of us do. We need peace, and none of us have any peace right now.
Yeah, I agree. You know, my thoughts go out to his family for sure, to him and his family, of course. And like I said, this is a perfect example of sometimes you just got to take the law into your own hands and
Right.
just put in the work, put in the sweat equity, because sometimes you found Kylen in the most simplest of ways, even though it took you 5 hours, of course, because you didn't know where she was. But at the same time, you went to the campsite and then you found her only a little ways away.
Right.
It's so strange to me that it was that close.
Right. Yeah, and there was a wedding at Whispering Oaks Friday and Saturday. They had over 100 guests there. The window actually overlooks the campsite. One of the windows. I'm like, how somebody saw something, they just don't know it. Like there had to at some point been a second vehicle around there somewhere. Someone had to have seen it. They just don't know it. They don't realize that they were a witness to a crime. And that's what we're hoping by continuing to talk to folks like you and others, is that we can get the word out there that, you know, this horrible crime took place sometime between Friday the 13th of August, and I found them Wednesday morning. But I believe that it happened probably Saturday morning after, you know, like at 1 to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because the girls didn't leave Moab until 11 p.m. And it would have taken them an hour to get up there at that time of night, at least an hour. So you figured they walked into their camp area, you know, around midnight in that time range. So we just need people to, you know, if you take pictures, if you stood at that window at Whispering Oaks and was taking pictures of the landscape out that window, it's quite possible you might have a picture of that other vehicle.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
I mean, I'm the crazy lady that takes 1,000 pictures of the same scenery every day, right? And, you know, somebody else could have done that too and not even realize they've got a picture of a vehicle that might help us nail this person.
Yeah. You got a point. We're seeing that with the Gabby Petito situation, the situation with the van, and the van lifers driving through those areas of like Grand Teton and all that. So literally, some people just need to go through their phones real quick, and they might find something that could be extremely helpful, be integral to the solving this case right here. So real quick,
I think this is what makes it so integral that people continue to talk about this, because I'm sure there are people who are at the wedding who aren't even aware yet about this happening. Sean Paul does have the list of all of the people who were there. That takes a long time to try to contact everybody, and not everybody's gonna respond. So the more we talk about it, the more this can hopefully go out, and hopefully people can come up and be like, wait a minute, I took photos there. Just like Red, White, and Bethune, when they realized, oh wait, we had video of the van, and that's how they eventually found Gabby's body. Like, this is such important moments to spread awareness about.
Quick, I got to ask you, because obviously we're speaking of Gabby Petito and the Brian Laundrie situation. The last sighting that they had of Gabby was during that whole
when the police were called out.
I wouldn't say it's an altercation, but they when they met, they ran into the police, the Moab police. What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously people are kind of questioning a lot of things in regards to how the Moab police handled the situation. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that they handled it right? Is this just kind of an example of the Moab police department? What are your thoughts?
Apparently it is an example of what goes on here. But I'm not real sure. I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to the videos and stuff. I think I watched it once, and you know, it's kind of disturbing and sad to see how she's acting and responding, because I've been in that situation myself, so I kind of get it. But they should have enough evidence to either tie him into it or not. I don't know if they said it's not connected to give him a sense of security, because I know that they'll do that in cases. Yeah, I wish we knew. You know, there's a lot of coincidences, like where they were going to camp. There's 2 spots that they had chosen, and both of them are within minutes of where the girls were camping. There's obviously a lot of speculation going on about that whole thing. And yeah, when I first saw his picture and everything, I felt like, oh my gosh, this is the guy. This is the guy. And then, you know, he doesn't fit in with the creeper dude scenario, unfortunately, because they came after the girls had announced the creeper dudes, right? So yeah, there's some holes. There's just some strangeness. I'd like to know, you know, if he's not associated, how did they come up with that? Because we don't have any sense of safety here. They told us we're safe. We don't feel safe. They told us it's not connected. We don't 100% believe it's not connected. Many of us, let's put it that way. There's still some unanswered questions because they don't give you enough information when they make these one-line press releases.
Yeah, right.
We've had one-liners. That's it. You know, not related. You're safe. Are you kidding me?
No kidding. You know, I appreciate you coming on and talking with me about all this. I mean, like I said, it seems as if rolling up your sleeves and doing the dirty work yourself seems to be going a lot further than what we're seeing, even with this whole Brian Laundrie search.
That's ridiculous.
I feel like we're in a world now where civilians are going to be using this social.
What a wild time though, because like this was recorded a month ago before Brian was found, and like so weird to see this back now.
Social media, and we're all going to be these social media sleuths, these digital detectives, just cracking the case before the law enforcement actually do.
Correct. Yeah, so, John Walsh says, that he's like, I'm not the one that cracks these crimes. He said it's the people, it's the public that helps solve these crimes, not the police.
Sorry, advertisement. Also, I'm going to continue my poo-pooing of John Walsh. If you haven't been here before, if you're on the replay crew, or if you're, Ida, new person on the stream, I poo-poo on John Walsh a lot because I didn't have like an opinion on him before I started talking about missing persons cases on the channel, and now it's kind of become my whole channel. John Walsh said some really disgusting things when the whole Gabby case was happening and Brian wasn't being found, including telling Brian on national television, completely uncensored, aired, that the best thing that he can do is kill himself, and was one of the first people to call the laundries the dirty laundries on national television, which I think is incredibly damaging to people to see a public figure say these things openly on national television as if it was nothing. Especially, in my opinion, to young people who are probably seeing this, who are in school and are going to be so emboldened to feel that it is okay to go to their fellow man, their fellow person in class, and tell them to go kill themselves. So fuck John Walsh. I'm not poo-pooing on Cindy. I'm sure maybe she's not aware about this issue. Maybe she is, whatever, entitled to whatever she wants to watch. Sure, good point, John Walsh, that she's talking about. But I don't fucking care for John Walsh. He can fuck off. He's an asshole, in my opinion. I think that is so fucking out of line what he said. But you know what? Now, we're just gonna continue this tangent. Jesse got what he fucking wanted because now Brian is dead and we have no answers. So fuck you, John Walsh, again. Anyways, I come back from my John Walsh rants, and we'll continue on.
Turning stuff in. We just all need to be so much more aware and vigilant of what's going on around us at all times.
I agree, Cindy.
Absolutely. I totally agree. We just need to keep our heads on a swivel, keep our heads up, not in our phones all the dang time.
Yep.
Real talk, y'all. And we just need to make sure we know our surroundings so that, just in case something like this does happen, we're able to remedy the issue as quickly as possible. Now, real quick, before I let you go, you said something about Brian Laundrie did not match the creeper story. What was the description of this creeper? Just so.
Well, I don't mean the description-wise, because I don't really know the description of the creeper. I believe that was given to the police by the girls that the comments were made to.
Right.
What I mean by him being the creeper dude is I don't know that they were in town yet, and so for him to have been the creeper dude, he would have had to be up there already and established himself prior to Friday.
Gotcha.
So was he up there? I don't know when they got to Moab. I know that there's a downtime in their post from like the 13th or 14th until the 23rd or 24th or something, where there's zero communication between, Gabby was posting every single day. So was Brian. And then literally all of their Instagrams, all their tweets, everything just stops.
Okay.
Like, and that's just based on timelines that I've looked at, and whether those are correct or not, I don't know. I just look at that and think that's kind of odd.
Right.
Where were they? Why the silence? What was happening during that time frame?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions,
Absolutely.
and there's a lot of people that want answers.
I mean, fingers crossed on all this. It's only time will tell on
Right.
this whole situation, especially not only with Brian Laundrie's the whole Brian Laundrie case, but also and him missing or going off on a lamb, but also with this Kylen and Krystal story. I'm hoping that we can find some justice for them for real.
Okay.
It looks like you got some
Yeah.
friends wanted to say hi. How you
It's
doing?
Peanut.
What's his name?
The Peanut. She's
Peanut.
she's my rescue.
Oh,
She stays right next to me.
beautiful, beautiful dog. But
Yeah.
Sue Hunter, thank you so much for being on. I really do appreciate you telling us your story. And you know what? I want to say this too. I really do appreciate you. I said it before, but I'll say it again. I do really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do the right thing and find Kylen and help find both of them. Because without you doing that, they probably
Like, so many laying there. That's just, that's one of the things I've said. I feel like I was chosen to find them. And, but sitting up there, because they held me at the crime scene all day long, there's literally hundreds of cars that drive that loop road every day. How? I just don't understand. People need to be more aware, more alert, pay attention.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for being on, and God bless. Seriously, God
Thank
bless.
you so much. Thank you.
So there you have it, guys. I want to say a big thank you to Cindy Sue Hunter for being on.
I think that was a really interesting interview. These are a lot of the stuff I already knew, thanks to our friend Krystal in the chat. But it's a different experience from reading it on a screen, what happened, and hearing the story straight from the horse's mouth. To me, this is very impactful. I think this gave us a lot of things to kind of marinate on, and think about for our own lives, and other things going forward. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream. I think now that I realize that there's 2 different interviews that this gentleman has done, I will go ahead and cover the interview that he did with Kylen's aunt probably next week. And we can kind of talk about that and go over it as we continue to wait for hopefully more information about this case, and hopefully somebody is caught and prosecuted for this heinous crime. I think we're all eagerly awaiting for that moment. So I hope you guys will continue with me. I will continue to cover Kylen and Krystal's case, of course, as I have been. I also will continue to cover Gabby Petito's case, some stuff to look forward to. And of course, I'm going to continue to cover Maya Marcano's case. Next week, I will be covering Summer Wells. The week after that, I'll be covering the West brothers out of California. Following that, I'll be covering Ariana Fitz. If you have any requests of missing persons or true crime cases in general for me to cover, please let me know. I do have a form that you can fill out in my description down below. If you are somebody who is a victim advocate, there's a separate form that you can also fill out for me to cover a story and work with you directly. Anything else that I have to say? If you're not already in the Discord, join the Discord. That's how you find out right away. I already have a calendar for all of the videos I'll be doing this entire month. Tomorrow we will be picking a book to read on stream because I like to have little palate cleansers in between talking about missing persons cases and times that we can all hang out and just have a good time. Krystal, of course, is daring you guys all to smash that like button. Thank you, Krystal. That all being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I would love to hear your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on this live stream. What did you guys think about what Cindy Sue had to say? Let me know also if you have any info that I haven't yet covered about Kylen and Krystal, or any of the cases that I'm covering, of course. yep, so that is the stream. I will see you guys again tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys all for joining me. Thank you to Krystal, Dragon Man, and Lee and Ida for all joining me. It is cool. This is my first person that I've ever had on the stream from Sweden. So thanks for joining me. I have no idea. I'd love to know what time it is where you are. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you guys. And I can't wait to hang out again. Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one. Can you message me on Discord about that one? Because I'll add that to my list. Yeah, if anybody else, and you know what, if my girl Ida in the chat, or my guy or my non-binary pal Ida in the chat, I still don't know what your pronouns are. If Ida in the chat wants to give me some missing persons case, or another kind of true crime case to cover out of Sweden, that'd be really interesting. Let me know. All right, with all that being said, I will see you guys again tomorrow. Don't forget to stay safe. Love you guys, and I will see you guys really, really soon.